October 4th, 2:50 a.m. in the morning, and another Beyond Body experience. Let me get right into this one, guys. First, I want to tell you I was completely exhausted this evening. I was really tired and ready to go to bed. One of the things that I always like to say is that if you are tired, it is more conducive to having an experience, an astral projection experience, or other types of experiences as well. And tonight was no different. I was definitely really tired. And for those of you who care, I had not binaural beats. I was getting ready to say binaural beats. I had storm sounds on in the background. Now, storm sounds are my favorite. I like to have those on, but I can also do relaxing music, and I've done that before. Not necessarily binaural beats, and I very rarely listen to binaural beats personally. I've also been able to have experiences with just simply silence, simple silence. That's it. But I would have to say that silence is much better for me if I am listening to the airwaves and listening out there for spirit beings. I should also add that tonight I had a bit of a stuffy nose. Still a little stuffy here and there, but that plays a part in this experience as well. So there I was, laying down, storm sounds on in the background, exhausted, just really, really tired. And I have to tell you, the sense of energy, and I've told you about sensing the energy coming, a tsunami of energy. This was not quite a tsunami of energy that I could sense, sort of medium, but I could feel the energy coming on. And one of the things that I always ask for you to imagine is perhaps a wave in the ocean, the way a wave develops, comes, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can see it. It's just that with this energy, I can sense it. So I could sense this energy coming on, and I knew it, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Okay, this is getting ready to happen. Here we go again. And when it came, I could feel my legs lift up just slightly. Now, there have been times when my legs have lifted up at a really steep angle, really steep. The angle that it lifted up just a little bit. It lifted just a little bit and moved slightly to the left. And then I was off. Now, I've talked before about feeling my body turn in different angles, different directions, moving up, moving down, but this was pretty steady, and I was moving fairly quickly. Not the fastest I've ever moved, by the way. I've moved faster previously, but tonight I was moving quicker than I've moved in a while. And the other thing about this experience was I always talk about the fact that there's darkness, and then that darkness lifts after some time. And this time, the darkness lifted a lot faster. In fact, it lifted while I was still in motion, guys. That does not happen a lot. Suddenly, as I was gliding, I could see a street, black concrete, crosswalk, and a stop sign. I was in a typical type of neighborhood, perhaps. On my left side, there was a school. I'm thinking really elementary school. Nothing stood out to me about the building. Sometimes I'll talk about different colors and things like that stand out to me. with this building, nothing stood out. It just looked like a normal elementary school, and this area just looked like a normal, typical neighborhood. No different than a neighborhood you would see in this reality. Very, very typical. There was a moment of transition. And when I talk about transition, I mean I went from gliding to walking. Very, very strange. I don't recall feeling or having that. I probably have had that before, but it's very interesting. I'm normally not aware. It's only a feeling when I'm gliding. I normally don't see what's going on. The transition was interesting. And when I transitioned to actually walking, I could feel my legs underneath me, my feet. It was interesting because I stumbled. I was trying to balance myself. And remember I talked about having that stuffy nose? Well, I was having some difficulty breathing. And one of the things that I want to add, and I've heard this question before too, do things that are happening to your body have an impact on your experience, whether it be astral projection or anything else? And I have to tell you, yes, it does. If you have a stuffy nose, if you're coughing, that can have an impact because you are connected to your body. So I could feel myself as I was walking, as I was stumbling, that I was having some difficulty breathing. So again, I focused on my breathing. Very important. I've talked about this as a tip before. Focus on your breathing. It is so helpful. I focused on my breathing. I took a deep breath. Another one. And suddenly I was steady. Things were okay. I thought for a moment there that I was going to be pulled back because that's what can happen. I can be pulled back prematurely, but this time I was not, thankfully, because I was breathing. And this is another tip for all of you out there. Breathe. I've said it before. This is very important. Breathe when you're out there, and if you're having an experience, if you're feeling the vibrations coming on, breathe. Breathe deep. That is extremely helpful. Now, once I got a hold of this and I was able to walk, I turned a corner and there was grass. Now, I don't remember, there may have been it may have been like a little grassy hill, but very, very small. It wasn't that big, really. It was just grass, the kind of thing you might see in a park or a school, a play area in an elementary school, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure, but what I do remember is that there was a very young Asian child playing in the grass. Now, I don't remember what part, or I should say this, when I saw the child, I couldn't tell what part of Asia that child was from. I've been to Asia. I've been to Malaysia, Japan, Thailand, and some other countries in Asia. Sometimes you can really tell where someone's from, and sometimes it's a little difficult, but I could not tell where this child was from. But I decided to test something. I waved hi to this kid as he was playing, and it was great because he turned, he noticed me, and he waved back. And the reason he actually didn't wave, he said hi, and he was smiling. Very pleasant, very nice kid, but he kept playing, kept doing what he was focused on, as kids tend to do. And one of the reasons why I felt that this was important was because I've had previous experiences where I have not been seen. My vibrational frequency was perhaps so high that the people around me were unable to see me. This time, this child was able to see me, and I was happy. I was happy about that. Moments later, a young lady, short blonde hair, very attractive, walked past the child and just kept walking. I guess more toward the school or into the school, not into a hallway, but maybe further into the play area. And I noticed this young lady and I started following her because I thought, well, maybe I can ask her where I am. Now, I've talked to you about the fact that when I start asking too many questions, I get pulled back. But this time I was just so curious, and the child had noticed me, and I thought, okay, maybe this person will be able to, tell me where I am. I won't ask too many questions, and, maybe I'll be able to get through this. So I started following this young, very attractive lady. By the way, I want to tell you, she reminded me a lot of a very young Elizabeth Shue. Elizabeth Shue was the love interest in The Karate Kid, and she reminded me of her. That's who I thought of when I saw this young lady. At one point, I was able to get her attention. I said, hello, excuse me, hello. I was very polite. And she turned and she looked at me and she greeted me, hello. At least that's what I believe she did. And but she was very pleasant regardless. And I simply asked, what city is this? Now, there have been times I've asked, what world is this? But I thought, I thought this time, well, I know it's just still going to sound crazy when I ask what city this is, but if I ask what world this is, then she's probably going to think I'm really, really crazy. And if I start telling her I'm from another reality, then it's really going to get weird. So I just decided to be real simple, to go real simple and just ask a simple question. What city is this? She paused. And this pause lasted for a while. She was just sitting and just smiling at me. I asked her again, what city is this? She wouldn't answer the question. I was starting to get a little frustrated. Then she extended her hand as if to shake my hand, and I immediately backed away. Now, perhaps some of you are wondering why I backed off. First of all, regardless of how attractive this person is or whatever, I don't know who this person is. So that's the one thing. I'm very cautious when I'm out there, so I don't know exactly who I'm dealing with. The other thing is, previously when I've touched someone's hand, I felt a sort of pain, and I've talked about this before. In fact, people have asked me if I've been able to feel sensation out there, pain and things like that. Yes, I have felt it, but it normally happens if I touch someone's hand. I don't know why that is. My hand reacts to it. She extended her hand, and I immediately began again to back away. And I asked her again as I was backing up, what city is this? She would not answer the question. I must say, I was a little bit frustrated. I was getting more frustrated as this thing went along. And finally, she was able to get a hold of my hand. And as soon as she got a hold of my hand, I felt that pain. And very fast, very quickly, I was back here in the 3D world. I opened my eyes and I was like, oh no. I wanted the experience to last for longer. But it was over with. It went a little further than most of my experiences. Well, I shouldn't say that. This is sort of in the middle. This is sort of in between. But I wish it could have lasted longer, and I wish I would have been able to explore this place more so I could have brought back more for you. I have to say, and I have said this before, that there are times when there is a sort of signal with me, probably many times from my guides, that will bring me back to the 3D world. If I don't get this, then heck, I could stay out there for quite some time, and who knows what would happen if I did that. But it's interesting because it makes me think maybe that this person was my guide and my guide had just felt, hey, it's time for you to go back, and had touched my hand. And so it was time for me to go back. So I came back. So that's it. That's just a theory. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on another journey with me. And until next time, take care.